Please stay with me. I can't lose you. What am I gonna do without you? Everything feels so hopeless right now.
A man lay dying in a hospital bed in Seattle. His name was Marcus Chun, the richest tech entrepreneur in the entire state. Doctors stood around him with worried faces. They had tried everything. Medicine did not work. Surgery did not work. Nothing could save him. Then an old spiritual healer arrived. Her name was Elder Rose. She touched Marcus's forehead and spoke with a voice thin like wind. She said Marcus was cursed. Only one thing could break it. He must marry a woman with a pure heart. Not a rich woman. Not a beautiful woman. A woman who had suffered greatly. A woman who owned nothing. Marcus's father was angry, but his son was dying. They had no choice. They sent men into the streets of Seattle. They needed to find the poorest woman in the city. They found her sitting on cold ground near Pike Place Market. Her name was Emma. She wore torn clothes and held an empty cup. She was begging. The man offered her more money than she had ever seen. She followed him to the hospital. At 11:50 at night, 10 minutes before midnight, Elder Rose married them. The moment she finished speaking, Marcus's eyes opened. Color returned to his face. He was saved. But when he saw Emma, his dirty, poor new wife, his first words were cruel. He asked why they tied him to a beggar. Emma's heart broke. She did not know she was walking into a nightmare. If you're enjoying this story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Comment below and let us know where you're watching from. New York, London, Toronto, Sydney, or anywhere in the world. We want to hear from you. Share this video so more people can enjoy these amazing stories. Now, let's continue. Marcus Chun was the richest tech mogul in Seattle. He built his empire from a small startup to a billion-dollar company. His mansion overlooked Lake Washington. His cars were imported from Europe. His watches cost more than most people's houses. But now he lay dying. His skin burned with fever. His body shook with pain. The best doctors in the country surrounded his bed at Seattle General Hospital. They ran every test. They tried every treatment. Nothing worked. The sickness was eating him from inside. His family stood helpless. His mother, Diana, held his hand and cried. His father, Robert, paced the room like a caged animal. Time was running out. Death was coming closer. The machines beeped slowly. His breathing grew weaker. Then Elder Rose arrived. She was very old, a spiritual healer known throughout the Pacific Northwest. She wore flowing white robes and many crystal beads. Her eyes were cloudy, but she saw everything. She touched Marcus's forehead with her wrinkled hand. She closed her eyes and hummed. The room became silent. She opened her eyes and spoke. Her voice was thin like wind. She said Marcus was cursed. An evil spirit wanted his life. Only one thing could break the curse. He must marry a woman with a pure heart. Not a rich woman. Not a beautiful woman. A woman who had suffered greatly. A woman who owned nothing. Robert was angry. He shouted at the healer. He said this was nonsense. How could marriage save a dying man? Elder Rose did not argue. She just looked at him with her cloudy eyes. She said if they did not believe her, Marcus would die before sunrise. Robert looked at his son. Marcus was barely breathing now. His lips were turning blue. Diana started crying louder. Robert had no choice. He asked the healer what to do. She said they must find the woman tonight. She must be the poorest woman in the city. She must have nothing. She must marry Marcus before midnight. Only then would the curse break. Robert sent his security team into the streets. They drove through Seattle in black SUVs. They searched every corner. They looked in alleys and under bridges. They needed to find the poorest woman alive. Time was running out. Midnight was only 3 hours away. Finally, one man found her. She was sitting on the cold ground near Pike Place Market. Her name was Emma Johnson. She wore torn clothes. Her feet were bare and dirty. Her hair was rough and uncombed. She held an empty cup. She was begging. She looked tired and thin. Her eyes were sad but gentle. The man walked up to Emma. He said his boss needed her help. Emma looked confused. She asked what kind of help. The man said she must come with him right now. Emma was scared. She thought it was a trick. She said no. The man pulled out money. He showed her more cash than she had ever seen. He said if she came, this money would be hers. Emma stared at the money. She had not eaten in 2 days. Her stomach hurt from hunger. She had no family, no home, no future. She thought maybe this was her only chance. She stood up slowly. Her legs shook. She followed the man to the SUV. They brought Emma to the hospital. She had never been inside such a big building. Everything was white and clean. She felt dirty and out of place. People stared at her torn clothes. She wanted to run away, but the man held her arm gently. He took her to a private room. Inside was the dying billionaire. Marcus lay still on the bed. His family surrounded him. His mother looked at Emma with disgust. His father looked desperate. Elder Rose stood in the corner. She nodded when she saw Emma. She said this was the right woman. Robert told Emma she must marry his son immediately. Emma could not believe what she heard. She asked why. Why would a rich man marry a beggar? Robert had no time to explain. He said his son would die if she refused. He offered her more money. He said she would be paid well. Emma looked at Marcus. He was so sick. His face was pale. She felt sorry for him. She had nothing to lose. She agreed. Elder Rose quickly prepared the ceremony. She lit candles around the hospital room. She burned sage that smelled strong. She tied a red cloth around Emma's wrist. She tied another around Marcus's wrist. She spoke words in an ancient language. She joined their hands together. She declared them husband and wife. It was 11:50 at night, 10 minutes before midnight. The moment Elder Rose finished speaking, something strange happened. The machines around Marcus started beeping faster. His chest rose higher. His fingers moved. Color returned to his face. His eyes opened slowly. Everyone gasped. Diana screamed with joy. Robert fell to his knees. Marcus looked around confused. He saw his family. He saw Elder Rose. Then he saw Emma. He looked at her torn clothes, her dirty face, her rough hair. He saw the red cloth on both their wrists. He asked what happened. Robert explained everything. The curse, the healer's solution, the urgent marriage. Marcus's face changed. His eyes became cold. He looked at Emma with anger and disgust. His first words after being saved were cruel. He asked why they tied him to a dirty beggar. Emma felt her heart break. She stepped back. Tears filled her eyes, but she said nothing. Elder Rose told Marcus he must respect his wife. The marriage saved his life. Marcus laughed bitterly. He said he never agreed to this. He would fix this mistake. He would divorce her tomorrow. Diana agreed. She said they would pay Emma and send her away. Robert stayed quiet. He was just happy his son was alive. Elder Rose shook her head sadly. She warned them. She said the curse would return if Marcus broke the marriage. He must stay married to Emma for 1 full year. If he divorced her before then, he would die. Marcus did not believe her. He thought it was all tricks. But Robert believed. He had seen his son dying. He had seen the miracle. He could not risk losing Marcus again. He ordered his son to obey. Marcus was furious, but he was too weak to fight. The doctor said he needed rest. Robert told Emma she would come home with them. She would live in their mansion. She would be Marcus's wife for 1 year. After that, they would give her money and she could leave. Emma wanted to refuse. But where would she go? Back to the streets? Back to begging? At least here, she would have food and shelter. She agreed. She did not know she was walking into a nightmare. They took Emma to the Chun family estate in Medina, just outside Seattle. It was the biggest house she had ever seen. It had tall gates and beautiful gardens overlooking the lake. Inside were marble floors and modern art. House staff walked quietly through the halls. Emma felt like she was dreaming, but the dream quickly turned dark. Diana called all the house staff. She introduced Emma, but she did not call her Marcus's wife. She called her a beggar they picked from the street. She said Emma was there temporarily. She told the staff to give Emma the worst room in the house, the one near the back where they kept storage. The staff looked at Emma with pity. Emma's room was tiny and cold. There was only a small bed with a thin blanket, one small window. The walls were bare. The floor was concrete. It was worse than some places she had slept on the streets. But at least it had a roof. At least she was safe from rain. She sat on the bed and cried quietly. She touched the red cloth still tied on her wrist. She wondered what she had done. She wondered if this was punishment for something. She was so tired. Her body hurt. She lay down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow she would face whatever came. Tonight, she just needed to sleep. The next morning, Diana woke Emma before sunrise. She banged on the door loudly. She told Emma to get up. There was work to do. Emma opened the door confused. Diana handed her a bucket and cleaning supplies. She told Emma to clean all the floors in the house. Emma said she was not a servant. Diana laughed coldly. She said Emma was worse than a servant. She was a beggar pretending to be family. If Emma wanted to stay in this house, she would work. She would earn her food. Emma wanted to refuse. But Diana's eyes were hard and mean. Emma took the bucket. She started cleaning. Her hands hurt. Her back hurt. But she kept working. Marcus watched from the top of the grand staircase. He saw Emma on her knees, scrubbing the marble floor. He felt nothing. No pity. No guilt. He only felt anger. Anger that he was tied to this woman. Anger that his life depended on her. He went to his father's office in the tech company headquarters downtown. He demanded they find another way. Robert said there was no other way. Elder Rose was clear. 1 full year. Marcus slammed his fist on the desk. He said he would make this year hell for Emma. He would make her leave on her own. Then his death would not be his fault. Robert warned him to be careful, but Marcus did not listen. He had already made up his mind. He would destroy her spirit. Days passed. Emma worked from morning until night. She cleaned floors. She washed dishes. She scrubbed bathrooms. The house staff were kind to her in secret. But in front of Diana, they ignored her. Diana watched Emma like a hawk. She found fault in everything. She said the floors were not clean enough. The dishes were still dirty. She made Emma do the work again. Emma never complained. She just worked harder. She was used to suffering. This was not new. But what hurt most was Marcus. Every time he saw her, he said something cruel. He called her ugly. He called her stupid. He called her worthless. His words cut deeper than any work. One evening, Diana hosted a dinner party. Rich tech executives came to the mansion. They wore designer clothes and expensive jewelry. They drank champagne and laughed loudly. Emma was told to serve the food. She had never served before. She was nervous. She carried a tray of wine glasses into the dining room. Everyone stared at her. Her clothes were old and plain. Her hands were rough from work. She tried to be careful, but her hands were shaking. She tripped on the carpet. The tray fell. Glasses shattered. Wine spilled everywhere. The guests gasped. Diana screamed. She called Emma useless. She told her to get out. Emma ran from the room. She heard them laughing behind her. She hid in her small room and cried. Marcus came to her room that night. He did not knock. He just opened the door. Emma was sitting on the bed. Her face was red from crying. Marcus looked at her with cold eyes. He said she embarrassed him. She made his family look bad. He said she was an animal who did not belong in civilized society. Emma looked up at him. She spoke for the first time with strength. She said she did not ask for this. She did not ask to marry him. She was only trying to survive. Marcus stepped closer. He said survival was not enough. He said she was nothing. She would always be nothing. Then he left. Emma felt something change inside her. She felt a small spark of anger. Weeks turned into months. Emma's life became a routine of pain. Wake up early, work all day, endure insults, sleep in the cold room. But something was changing. Emma was getting stronger. Her body became used to the hard work. Her heart became harder against the cruel words. She stopped crying. She stopped caring what they thought. She did her work and stayed quiet. The house staff started to respect her. They saw how hard she worked. They saw how she never fought back. One old housekeeper named Betty started helping her. She brought Emma extra food. She gave her a warmer blanket. She told Emma to be patient. Good things come to those who endure. One day, Robert saw Emma working in the garden. She was pulling weeds under the hot sun. Her face was covered in sweat, but she worked steadily. Robert watched her for a long time. He felt something strange. Guilt. He remembered how they found her, how desperate she looked, how she agreed to help even though she was scared. She saved his son's life, and this was how they repaid her. He walked over to her. Emma saw him and stood up quickly. She thought she did something wrong, but Robert's face was soft. He asked if she was okay. Emma did not know how to answer. No one had asked her that in months. She just nodded. Robert told her he was sorry. Then he walked away. That night, Robert talked to Marcus. He told his son to stop being cruel to Emma. Marcus refused. He said Emma deserved everything she got. Robert raised his voice. He said Emma was innocent. She had done nothing wrong. She was suffering because of their family. Marcus laughed bitterly. He said his father was going soft. Diana was worse than Marcus. She hated Emma more each day. She saw how Robert looked at Emma with pity. She feared Emma was winning sympathy. She decided to make Emma's life even harder. She cut Emma's food portions. She gave Emma more work. She spread rumors among the staff that Emma was a con artist. She said Emma used tricks to trap Marcus. Some staff believed her. They started avoiding Emma. They stopped helping her. Only Betty remained kind. But even Betty had to be careful. Diana was watching everyone. Emma felt more alone than ever. But she did not break. She kept working. She kept enduring. She told herself 1 year would end. She just had to survive. 5 months passed. Emma had changed. She was no longer the scared beggar from the streets. Her body was stronger. Her eyes were harder. She spoke less. She worked more. She became like a ghost in the house. People barely noticed her except Marcus. He noticed her every day. He hated that she was still there. He hated that she did not cry anymore. He hated that she seemed stronger. It made him angry. One night he was drunk. He went to her room again. He banged on the door. Emma opened it. She looked at him calmly. He started yelling. He called her every bad name he could think of. Emma just stared at him. She did not react. This made him more angry. Marcus grabbed Emma's arm. He pulled her close. He said he could make her life worse. He could hurt her in ways she could not imagine. Emma looked into his eyes. She spoke quietly. She said he had already taken everything from her. Her dignity, her hope, her humanity. There was nothing left to take. She said she was already dead inside. His words meant nothing now. Marcus let go of her arm. For the first time, he felt something strange. Fear. Not of her, but of what he had become. He stumbled back. He left her room without another word. Emma closed the door. She sat on her bed. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. From anger. She was tired of being a victim. The next day, something unexpected happened. A lawyer came to the mansion. He asked to speak with Marcus. They met in the study. The lawyer said he had important news. Marcus's uncle had died. The uncle had no children. He left his entire fortune to Marcus. It was a huge amount of money. Marcus was now even richer. He smiled. He thought his luck was changing. But the lawyer was not finished. He said there was one condition in the will. Marcus must be married. The uncle believed marriage made a man responsible. If Marcus was not married, the money would go to charity. Marcus's smile faded. He told the lawyer he was married. The lawyer asked to meet his wife. Marcus had no choice. He called for Emma. She came into the study wearing her work clothes. Her hair was tied back. Her hands were dirty. The lawyer looked confused. He asked if this was really Marcus's wife. Marcus said yes through gritted teeth. The lawyer said he needed proof. Marriage certificate, photos, evidence of them living as husband and wife. Marcus's heart sank. They had a certificate from Elder Rose's ceremony, but no photos. No evidence. The lawyer said he would return in 1 week. He needed to see proof that this was a real marriage. If not, the inheritance would be lost. After the lawyer left, Marcus stood frozen. Diana came in. She had heard everything. She looked at Emma with pure hatred, but she knew what had to be done. Diana made the announcement. For the next week, they would pretend Emma was a real wife. They would take photos. They would act like a family. After the lawyer approved everything, they would go back to normal. She told Emma to clean herself up. She could not look like a servant anymore. She had to look like a tech mogul's wife. Emma was taken to a luxurious bathroom. Staff filled the tub with hot water. They brought expensive soap and oils. Emma had not had a real bath in months. She sank into the water. It felt like heaven. They washed her hair. They scrubbed her skin. They trimmed her nails. When she got out, they brought her new clothes. A beautiful designer dress. Soft leather shoes. They styled her hair. When Emma looked in the mirror, she did not recognize herself. They brought Emma downstairs. Marcus was waiting. When he saw her, he froze. She looked completely different. Clean, beautiful, elegant. For a moment, he forgot who she was. Marcus stared at Emma. For a moment, he forgot who she was. Then he remembered. His face turned cold again. But his mother was watching. She reminded him to act loving. They needed the inheritance. A photographer came. He posed Marcus and Emma together. He told them to smile, to hold hands, to look happy. It was torture for both of them. Marcus's hand was stiff in hers. His smile was fake. Emma did not smile at all. She just stared at the camera. The photographer kept telling them to relax, to look natural. But there was nothing natural about this. They were two people who hated each other pretending to be in love. They took photos all day. In the garden overlooking Lake Washington. In the dining room. In the living room. They had to sit close to touch, to pretend. Diana watched every shot. She made sure they looked convincing. At the end of the day, Emma was exhausted. Not from physical work. From pretending. From being close to the man who had made her life hell. She went back to her small room. She took off the beautiful dress. She put on her old clothes. She lay on her thin bed. She felt confused. For one day, she had lived like a rich person. She had felt clean, pretty, human. But it was all fake. Tomorrow she would go back to being nothing. The thought made her feel empty inside. But that night, Marcus could not sleep. He kept seeing Emma's face. Not the dirty beggar face. The clean, beautiful face. He was confused. He had spent months convincing himself she was worthless. But today, she looked like she belonged. She looked like someone who could actually be his wife. The thought made him angry. He didn't want to think of her that way. She was nothing. She would always be nothing. But the image stayed in his mind. Her dark eyes. Her smooth skin. Her quiet dignity. He shook his head. He told himself it was just a dress, just a makeup. Underneath, she was still the same beggar. He had to remember that. He could not let himself feel anything else. The week continued. Every day, they took more photos. Every day, they pretended. Emma stayed in the nice clothes. She ate at the dining table with the family. She was not allowed to work. She had to act like a wife. It was strange. The staff did not know how to treat her. Diana was cold, but polite in front of the photographer. Robert was kind. He talked to Emma during meals. He asked about her life before. Emma was careful with her words. She did not share much, but Robert listened. He seemed genuinely interested. This made Diana jealous. She snapped at Emma whenever Robert was not looking. She reminded Emma this was temporary. Soon everything would go back to normal. Emma knew this, but part of her wished it did not have to. On the last day before the lawyer returned, they had to take photos in Marcus's bedroom. The photographer said married couples share a room. They needed at least one photo there. Marcus refused, but Diana insisted. They went to his room. It was huge. The bed was enormous. Everything was expensive and perfect. Emma felt out of place. The photographer posed them on the bed. He told them to sit close. Marcus sat stiffly. Emma sat on the edge. The photographer was not happy. He said they needed to look more intimate. He told Marcus to put his arm around Emma. Marcus did not move. Diana gave him a sharp look. Slowly, Marcus put his arm around Emma's shoulders. She felt his touch and tensed. This was the closest they had ever been. The photographer kept clicking. He told them to look at each other. Marcus turned his head. Emma turned hers. Their eyes met for a moment. Something passed between them. Not love, not hate. Something else. Recognition, maybe. They were both trapped. Both pretending. Both suffering in different ways. The moment lasted only a second. Then Marcus looked away. The photographer said he got the shot. They could stop. Marcus pulled his arm back quickly. He stood up and left the room. Emma sat there for a moment. Her shoulders still felt warm where his arm had been. She touched the spot. Then she stood up and left too. She went back to her small room. Tomorrow the lawyer would come. Tomorrow this would all be over. The lawyer arrived exactly on time. Diana served expensive tea. Everyone sat in the living room. The lawyer reviewed all the photos. He asked questions. How'd they meet? What did they marry? Did they love each other? Diana answered most questions smoothly. She lied with a smile. She said they met at a charity tech conference. Emma was volunteering to help homeless people. Marcus fell in love with her kind heart. They married quickly because love could not wait. The lawyer listened. He looked at the photos. He looked at Emma and Marcus. He seemed satisfied. He said everything appeared in order. The inheritance would be released. Marcus would receive the money within a week. Diana smiled. Marcus relaxed. It was done. The pretending was over. After the lawyer left, Diana turned to Emma. Her smile disappeared instantly. She told Emma to go back to her room, to change into her old clothes, to go back to work. The charade was finished. Emma stood up slowly. She looked at all of them. Robert looked sad. Marcus looked relieved. Diana looked triumphant. Emma walked upstairs. She changed her clothes. She put on the old worn dress. She tied her hair back. She looked in the mirror one last time. The beautiful woman was gone. The beggar was back. She felt something break inside her. Not her spirit. Something else. Her hope, maybe. The small hope that maybe things could be different. That maybe she could be treated like a human. That hope died. She went back downstairs. She picked up the bucket and cleaning supplies. She started scrubbing floors again. But something had changed. The staff had seen Emma dressed as a wife. They had seen her sit at the table. They had seen her look beautiful. They could not forget it. Some of them started treating her differently. Not like a beggar, more like a person. They spoke to her kindly. They helped her when Diana was not looking. Betty was bolder now. She told Emma she deserved better. She said Emma was strong. She said Emma should not let them destroy her. Emma listened, but she said nothing. She just kept working. She had 7 more months to survive. Then she would be free. She would take the money they promised. She would disappear. She would find a new life. She just had to endure a little longer. But Diana noticed the staff's sympathy. It made her furious. She called a meeting. She reminded everyone that Emma was not family. She was temporary, a mistake that would be corrected. Anyone who showed Emma special treatment would be fired. The staff became scared. They stopped helping Emma openly. But Betty did not care about threats. She was old. She had worked for this family for 30 years. She was not afraid. She continued to help Emma. She brought her food. She talked to her. She became like a mother to Emma. Emma was grateful. Betty was the only light in her dark life. The only person who saw her as human. Emma did not know what she would do without her. Marcus received his inheritance. He was now one of the richest tech moguls in the country. He bought new sports cars, new watches, new everything. He threw parties at exclusive Seattle clubs. He went to tech conferences around the world. He lived like a king. But something bothered him. At night, when he was alone, he thought about Emma. He remembered how she looked in the nice clothes. He remembered the moment their eyes met in his bedroom. He tried to forget. He tried to bury the memories under money and pleasure. But they kept coming back. He started drinking more. He became angry more often. His business partners noticed. They asked what was wrong. He said nothing. But he knew. He was haunted by the woman he had tried so hard to destroy. The woman who refused to break. One night, Marcus came home very drunk. He stumbled through the house. Everyone was asleep. He found himself walking to Emma's room. He did not know why. He opened the door quietly. Emma was sleeping. The moonlight came through the small window. It fell on her face. She looked peaceful, beautiful even. Marcus stood there watching her. He felt confused. Why did he come here? What did he want? He turned to leave, but his foot hit the bucket. It made a loud noise. Emma woke up. She saw Marcus standing in her room. She sat up quickly. She was scared. Marcus just stared at her. Then he spoke. His voice was slurred from alcohol. He asked why she did not leave, why she stayed and suffered, why she did not just run away. Emma looked at Marcus. She said she had nowhere to go, no money, no family, no home. This hell was better than the streets. At least here, she had food and shelter. Marcus laughed bitterly. He said she was pathetic. She had no pride, no self-respect. Emma's eyes flashed with anger. She said Marcus was wrong. She had more pride than he would ever understand. She stayed because she was strong, because she could endure anything, because she refused to let him win. She refused to give him the satisfaction of seeing her run. She would stay the full year. She would take her money, and she would leave and forget he ever existed. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. He turned and left without another word. Emma's heart was pounding. She did not sleep the rest of the night. After that night, Marcus avoided Emma. He did not look at her. He did not speak to her. He pretended she did not exist. But he thought about her constantly. Her words echoed in his mind. She was stronger than him. She endured more than he ever could. He realized something terrible. He had become the villain in her story. He had caused her pain. He had treated her worse than an animal. And for what? Because he was angry about a curse? Because he was too proud to accept help from a poor person? The realization made him sick, but he did not know how to fix it. He did not know how to undo months of cruelty. So he did nothing. He just avoided her and hated himself. 8 months had passed. For more to go. Emma counted every day. She was tired. So tired. Her body hurt all the time. Her hands were scarred from work. Her back ached constantly. But she kept going. She had to. One day while cleaning the living room, she suddenly felt dizzy. The room spun. She tried to hold onto a chair, but her legs gave out. She collapsed on the floor. Betty found her. She screamed for help. Staff came running. They carried Emma to her room. They called a doctor. When the doctor arrived, he examined Emma carefully. He said she was severely malnourished. She had not been eating enough. Her body was shutting down. She needed rest and proper food, or she would die. Robert heard about Emma's collapse. He rushed to her room. He saw her lying on the bed. She looked so small, so fragile. He asked the doctor what happened. The doctor explained everything. Robert was furious. He called Diana. He demanded to know why Emma was not being fed properly. Diana made excuses. She said Emma was given the same food as the staff. Robert did not believe her. He ordered that Emma be given 3 full meals every day. She was not to work until she recovered. Diana tried to argue, but Robert's voice was like thunder. He said if Emma died, it would be on their conscience. He would not allow it. Diana left the room angry, but she had to obey. For the first time in months, Emma rested. Betty brought her food 3 times a day. Warm soup, fresh bread, fruit. Emma ate slowly. Her stomach had shrunk. She could not eat much at once, but gradually she grew stronger. She stayed in her room for a week. During that time, she thought about everything. About her life. About this family. About Marcus. She realized she had been surviving, but not living. She had let them reduce her to nothing. She had accepted their cruelty. She had become a victim. She decided something important. When she was well, she would not go back to being invisible. She would not let them treat her like trash. She had 4 months left. She would survive with dignity. When Emma was well enough, she left her room. But she was different. She held her head high. She worked, but she did not rush. She did not apologize for existing. When Diana insulted her, Emma looked her in the eye. She did not respond, but she did not look down either. This change made Diana uncomfortable. She could not break Emma anymore. It made her even more angry. She tried harder. She gave Emma impossible tasks. She criticized everything. But Emma stayed calm. She did what she could. She ignored what she could not. Diana was losing her power, and she knew it. She needed a new plan, a way to finally destroy Emma. She started thinking, plotting. Meanwhile, Marcus was changing too. He had been watching Emma from a distance. He saw her collapse. He heard the doctor's report. He felt guilt crushing him. He had done this to her. His cruelty had nearly killed her. He could not eat, could not sleep. He looked at himself in the mirror and hated what he saw. A monster. A man who hurt someone innocent. Someone who saved his life. He wanted to apologize. But how could he? What words could possibly fix what he had done? He decided he would wait. When the year ended, he would give her more money than promised. Enough to live well forever. It was the least he could do. 3 months left. Tension in the house was growing. Diana could feel her time running out. Soon Emma would leave. Soon this nightmare would end. But she wanted Emma to suffer one more time. She wanted to break her completely before she left. She thought of the cruelest thing she could do. She decided to destroy Emma's one friendship. She called Betty to her office. She accused Betty of stealing. Betty was shocked. She said she never stole anything. Diana said she had proof. She showed a silver spoon hidden in Betty's room. Betty said she did not put it there. Someone was lying. But Diana did not care. She fired Betty immediately. She told her to leave the house today. Betty was devastated. She had nowhere to go. Emma heard the news. She ran to Diana. She begged her to reconsider. She said Betty was innocent. Diana smiled coldly. She said if Emma cared so much, she could leave with Betty. Both of them could go beg on the streets together. Emma felt rage burning inside her. But she controlled it. She said Betty had worked here for 30 years. She deserved respect. Diana laughed. She said respect was earned. Betty was a thief. Emma said Diana was a liar. The room went silent. Staff gasped. No one had ever spoken to Diana like that. Diana's face turned red. She raised her hand to slap Emma, but Emma caught her wrist. She held it firm. She looked into Diana's eyes. She said, "Not anymore. You cannot hit me anymore." Diana pulled her hand back. She was shaking with rage. She told Emma to get out of her sight. Emma left. She found Betty packing her things. Betty was crying. Emma hugged her. She said she was sorry. Betty said it was not Emma's fault. She said she would be okay. She had some savings. She would find another job. Emma felt helpless. She wanted to help, but had nothing. Betty left through the back door. Emma watched her go. She felt more alone than ever. Her only friend was gone. She had 3 months left in this house. 3 months with no one on her side. She did not know if she could make it, but she had to try. That night, Robert came to Emma's room. He knocked softly. Emma opened the door. She was surprised to see him. Robert looked tired and sad. He said he heard what happened. He said he was sorry about Betty. He knew Diana had lied. He said he would give Betty money to help her. Emma felt grateful. She thanked him. Robert looked at her carefully. He said Emma had changed. She was not the scared girl they brought here months ago. She had become strong. He said he admired her. Emma did not know what to say. Robert told her to hold on just a little longer. Soon she would be free. Then he left. Emma sat on her bed. Robert's words gave her a small bit of hope. Maybe she could survive these last 3 months after all. But Diana was not done. She had failed to break Emma's spirit. Now she wanted to hurt Emma in a different way. She started spreading rumors outside the house. She told her wealthy friends about Emma. She said Marcus was forced to marry a street beggar. She said Emma was using manipulation to stay in the house. She said Emma was after their money. The rumors spread quickly through Seattle's elite circles. Rich people loved to gossip. Soon everyone in their social circle knew about Emma. They whispered and laughed. They called her the beggar bride. Diana was pleased. She wanted to humiliate Emma. She wanted everyone to know Emma was nothing. She wanted to destroy any chance Emma had of a normal life after leaving. One day, Diana announced they were having another party. She invited all her wealthy friends. She said it was to celebrate Marcus's latest tech venture. But really, she wanted to humiliate Emma publicly. She ordered Emma to serve at the party. Emma knew what this was. Another way to hurt her. But she agreed. She had learned to pick her battles. The night of the party came. Rich people filled the mansion. They wore expensive designer clothes and jewelry. They drank champagne and ate gourmet food. Emma wore a simple server's uniform. She carried trays of drinks. She moved quietly through the crowd. But people noticed her. They whispered and pointed. They knew who she was. The beggar bride. Some laughed. Some looked at her with disgust. Emma kept her face blank. She refused to show pain. Then Diana did something cruel. She called for everyone's attention. She said she wanted to introduce someone special. She called Emma to the center of the room. Emma's heart sank, but she walked forward. Diana put her arm around Emma's shoulders. She smiled sweetly. She told everyone this was Emma, Marcus's wife. The guests looked shocked. Some gasped. Diana continued. She said Emma came from very humble beginnings. She used to beg on the streets. But Marcus saw something in her. He married her out of kindness. Now she works in a house to earn her keep. The guests started whispering loudly. Some laughed openly. Emma stood frozen. She felt every eye on her, judging her, mocking her. She wanted to run, but her legs would not move. Marcus was upstairs during all this. He heard the commotion. He came down to see what was happening. He saw his mother with her arm around Emma. He saw the guests staring and laughing. He saw Emma's face. She looked like she wanted to disappear. Something snapped inside Marcus. Marcus pushed through the crowd. He walked straight to Emma. Everyone went quiet. They expected him to say something cruel, to join the mockery. But Marcus did something unexpected. He took Emma's hand. He pulled her close to him. He looked at his mother with cold eyes. He said Emma was his wife. She deserved respect. Anyone who disrespected her disrespected him. The room was silent. No one knew what to say. Diana's face turned pale. She had not expected this. She tried to laugh it off. She said she was just introducing Emma. Marcus cut her off. He said his mother had said enough. He told the guests the party was over. They should leave. People looked at each other confused. But Marcus's face was serious. Slowly, people started leaving. They whispered as they went. Diana stood there shocked. She tried to speak to Marcus, but he ignored her. He still held Emma's hand. When the last guest left, he finally let go. He looked at Emma. He said he was sorry. Then he walked away. Emma stood there trembling. She did not understand what just happened. Why did Marcus defend her? Why did he stand up to his mother? Nothing made sense anymore. Diana was furious. She confronted Marcus in his home office. She demanded to know what he was thinking. Why did he embarrass her in front of her friends? Marcus said she embarrassed herself. She was cruel and heartless. Diana slapped him. She said he had become weak, soft, all because of that beggar. Marcus did not react to the slap. He just looked at his mother sadly. He said she had become someone he did not recognize, someone filled with hate. Diana's eyes filled with tears. Not sad tears, angry tears. She said she did everything for him, everything to protect their family name. And this was how he repaid her. Marcus said their family name meant nothing if they had no honor, no kindness. Diana left his office crying, but not from sadness, from rage. After that night, everything changed. Marcus stopped ignoring Emma. He started greeting her when he saw her. He asked if she was okay. He told the staff to treat her better. Emma did not trust it. She thought it was another trick, another way to hurt her. She stayed cautious. She answered his questions, but said little else. Marcus noticed her distrust. He understood it. He had earned it. He decided to show her through actions, not words. He told his mother Emma would no longer do heavy work. She would only do light tasks. Diana protested, but Marcus was firm. He was the head of the household now. His word was final. Diana had no choice but to obey. But her hatred for Emma grew even more. 2 months left. Emma's work became easier. She no longer scrubbed floors. She helped with simple tasks like arranging flowers or organizing books. The staff were nicer to her now. They saw how Marcus defended her. They respected her for surviving. Emma started to relax a little. She even smiled sometimes. But she never forgot what they did to her. She never forgot the pain, the humiliation, the cruelty. She counted the days until she could leave. She dreamed about her freedom, about starting a new life, about never seeing these people again. That dream kept her going. Marcus started talking to Emma more. At first, just simple conversations. Good morning. How are you? Did you sleep well? Emma answered politely but coldly. But slowly, over weeks, the conversations got longer. Marcus asked about her life before, where she came from, if she had family. Emma was careful. She did not share much, but she shared a little. She said her parents died when she was young. She had no siblings. She lived on the streets of Seattle for years. She survived by begging and doing odd jobs. It was a hard life, but she was used to it. Marcus listened. He felt more guilt. This woman had suffered her whole life, and he had made it worse. He had added to her pain when he should have helped her. One evening, Marcus asked Emma to have dinner with him, not with the family, just the two of them. Emma was suspicious. She asked why. Marcus said he wanted to talk. Emma did not want to, but she was curious. She agreed. They sat in the small breakfast room overlooking the lake. Staff brought food. It was quiet and awkward. Marcus did not know how to start. Finally, he spoke. He said he was sorry for everything, for how he treated her, for the cruelty, for the pain. He said there was no excuse. He was wrong. Emma looked at him. She did not cry. She did not smile. She just said sorry was not enough. Words could not fix what he broke. Marcus nodded. He said he knew. He asked what he could do. Emma said nothing. There was nothing he could do. The damage was done. They ate in silence. When dinner was over, Emma stood to leave. Marcus stopped her. He said he wanted her to know something. He said she was the strongest person he had ever met. She survived things that would have destroyed him. She never gave up, never broke. He said he admired her. Emma looked at Marcus with hard eyes. She said he did not get to admire her. Not after what he did. He did not get to feel better by giving compliments. She said when the 2 months were over, she would leave. She would take the money and she would never think of him again. He would be nothing to her, just a bad memory. Then she left. Marcus sat alone. Her words cut deep, but he deserved them. He deserved worse. 6 weeks left. Marcus tried harder. He found out where Betty lived. He would have visited her. Betty was surprised to see him. She was living in a small apartment, working as a cleaner in an office building. Marcus apologized to her. He said his mother had lied. Betty was never a thief. He offered her job back with a raise and a bonus for the month she lost. Betty was shocked. She did not know what to say. Marcus said it was the least he could do. Betty accepted. She said she would return, but only because she wanted to see Emma. Not for him. Marcus understood. He drove her back to the mansion. When Emma saw Betty, she could not believe it. She ran to her. They hugged. Both were crying. Emma asked how this happened. Betty said Marcus brought her back. Emma looked at Marcus. He stood nearby watching. For the first time, Emma felt something toward him that was not hate. She did not know what it was, but it was not hate. She whispered, "Thank you." Marcus nodded. Then he left them alone. 3 weeks left. Marcus continued trying to make things right. He gave Emma a better room, one with a proper bed and large windows overlooking the lake, with heat and comfort. He bought her new clothes, not servant clothes, normal quality clothes. He made sure she had enough food. He asked the staff to treat her with respect. He even started asking her opinion on things. What art should they display? What charity should his company support? Emma was confused by all this. She answered his questions, but she kept her distance. She did not let herself get close. She reminded herself this was temporary. In 3 weeks, she would leave. Nothing else mattered, but it was getting harder to remember. Harder to keep her walls up, because Marcus was being kind, and she had not felt kindness in so long. 1 week left. The reality was setting in. Emma would actually leave soon. Very soon. Marcus felt panic. He did not want her to go, but he had no right to ask her to stay. Not after everything. He watched her during the day. She seemed peaceful, ready. She had already started saying goodbye to the staff. They gave her small gifts, things to remember them by. Everyone was preparing for the end. 3 days left. Robert called Emma to his office. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a check. Emma looked at the amount. Her hand shook. It was more money than she had ever imagined. Enough to buy a house, to start a business, to live comfortably for years. She looked at Robert with tears in her eyes. He said she earned it. She saved his son's life. She endured hell. This was the least they could do. He said he was sorry for everything his family put her through. He hoped she would find happiness. Emma thanked him. She said he was a good man. She wished his son had learned from him sooner. Robert smiled sadly. He said maybe Marcus was learning now. Just too late. Emma left his office. She held the envelope tight. This was real. Her freedom was real. The final day arrived. Emma woke up early. She dressed in one of her new outfits. She combed her hair. She looked in the mirror. She barely recognized herself. She looked strong, healthy, beautiful even. This was not the beggar they picked up a year ago. This was a survivor, a warrior. She smiled at her reflection. Then she picked up her small bag. She walked downstairs. The staff were waiting. They hugged her goodbye. Betty cried. She made Emma promise to visit. Emma said she would try, but they both knew she probably would not. This chapter needed to close completely. Robert shook her hand. He wished her well. Diana did not come out of her room. Emma did not care. She did not need that woman's goodbye. Only one person was missing. Marcus. Emma walked to the front door. A car was waiting to take her away. She took one last look at the mansion. She felt nothing. No sadness. No anger. Just peace. She was ready to go. She opened the door. Then she heard a voice behind her. Marcus. She turned around. He stood at the top of the stairs. He looked terrible, like he had not slept in days. He walked down slowly. He stopped a few feet from her. He said he needed to say something. Emma waited. Marcus took a deep breath. He said he knew sorry was not enough. He knew he could never fix what he broke. But he wanted her to know. She changed his life. She made him see who he really was, and who he wanted to become. He said he hoped she would find happiness. She deserved it more than anyone. Emma looked at Marcus. She saw real pain in his eyes, real regret. She spoke quietly. She said she forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because she deserved peace. Carrying hate was too heavy. She was putting down. She said she hoped he would learn to be better, to treat people with kindness, to never abuse his power again. Marcus nodded. Tears filled his eyes. He asked if he would ever see her again. Emma paused. She looked at this man who had caused her so much pain, but also this man who was finally trying to change. She said honestly, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But if you truly want to honor what I went through, become the man you should have been from the start. Help people who have nothing. Use your wealth for good. That's how you make this mean something. Marcus nodded, unable to speak. Emma gave him one last look. Then she said goodbye. She turned and walked out the door. She got in the car. She did not look back. The car drove away. Marcus stood at the door watching until the car disappeared. Then he fell to his knees. He cried like he had never cried before. He had lost something precious, and it was all his fault. But as he knelt there, he made a decision. He would do what Emma said. He would become better. He would help people. He would use his wealth for good. It would not bring her back, but it would honor her strength, her dignity, her mercy. Emma sat in the car, watching Seattle pass by. She was free, actually free. She felt the envelope in her pocket. She felt her bag on her lap. She felt the car moving forward, taking her somewhere new. She did not know where she would go, what she would do, but that was okay. She had time to figure it out. For the first time in her life, she had options. She had money. She had freedom. She had a future. She smiled, a real smile, the kind that reached her eyes. She had survived against all odds. Through all the pain, she had survived. And now she would live, really live, not just survive, but thrive, build something beautiful, become someone amazing. The past was behind her. The future was ahead, and it was bright. 6 months later, Emma opened a shelter for homeless women in downtown Seattle. She called it Second Chance House. She used her money wisely. She gave women a safe place to sleep, food to eat, job training, hope for the future. She became known throughout Seattle as the woman who understood, because she had been there. She had lived on those streets. She knew their pain, and she used her experience to help others. She was happy, truly happy. She had found her purpose. Meanwhile, Marcus changed too. He started a foundation. He donated millions to homeless shelters, to job training programs, to mental health services. He volunteered at Emma's shelter. She let him, not because she forgave him completely, but because his help mattered, because the women needed support. They worked together sometimes. It was awkward at first, but over time, it became easier. They were not friends, but they were not enemies either. They were two people who shared a painful history, and they were both trying to do better. One day, a year and a half after Emma left, Marcus came to the shelter. He asked if they could talk. Emma agreed. They sat in her office. Marcus said he wanted her to know something. He said helping these women changed him more than anything. He finally understood what she went through. He finally understood her strength. He said he would spend the rest of his life trying to make up for what he did. Emma looked at him. She saw a different man than the one who insulted her in that hospital room. She said, "You can never make up for it, Marcus, but you can make it mean something. And you're doing that. Keep doing that." Marcus nodded. He asked if she was happy. Emma smiled. She said she was. Happier than she ever thought possible. Marcus smiled too. A sad smile, but a real one. He said he was glad. He said she deserved all the happiness in the world. As Marcus left that day, Emma watched him go. She felt something she never thought she would feel. Peace with the past. She had survived. She had overcome. She had built something beautiful from the ashes of her pain. And that was the greatest victory of all. The end. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story. If you enjoyed Emma's journey from struggle to triumph, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories of resilience and redemption. Share this video with your friends and family so more people can hear these powerful tales. Comment below and let us know where you're watching from. New York, London, Toronto, Sydney, or anywhere else in the world. We love hearing from you. What did you think of Emma's story? Do you believe people can truly change like Marcus did? Let us know in the comments. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, stay blessed and remember, you are stronger than you know. This is Storytime Voices, ***.